In a world of fake news, we bring you up-to-the-minute factual inaccuracy, winning the war on Christmas, even though candy canes are gross. With your hosts, Kyle Mann and Ethan Nicole. This is the Babylon Bee. Fake news you can trust.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Flower bed.
What?
Wow.
It looks like we choreographed this just so awkwardly. Welcome to Christmas time.
It was better when we were all just standing around the room talking. We should just do that and have someone walk around.
Just start the hidden camera show.
Yeah, something like that. So if you're listening to the podcast, you have no idea what's happening. We're sitting here with Kellen, Kara, and Greg.
Yeah. So we decided to have a special Christmas special. It's really special.
Special.
Because we have all our special guests. We have our comedian, Kellen. We have our political writer. And just,
what do you want to say? Say whatever.
Or whatever it is.
Writer and personality. Let's say that. Personality.
Yeah, personality.
I'm the personality of the show.
Pundit. And then we have our Christian apologeticist.
Yeah, our non-personality.
And you've all been on the show multiple times. Everybody loves you guys. And so here we are. So we just figured we let you guys talk and we just sit here and eat cookies.
Yeah.
How is that different?
It's like,
There's cookies. There's usually not cookies.
this is the wrong time to start a low-carb diet right here. I'm just saying.
I was also told not to actually eat the cookies because they're symmetrical.
Yeah.
So
Matt worked very hard setting them all up.
Yeah.
Are they in the shot?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. So.
Well, this is my first time in the new bee digs. So they got rid of the first palatial estate. The moat's gone, which I'm disappointed in. Yeah. And no alligators. I don't know what you did with all the alligators, but this place is nice too.
Them.
It's nice too.
Yeah.
You donated them?
Good one. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's the season for donating alligators.
Did you? All three of you came to our old studio.
That was the place I was at last two times.
Yeah, this is my first time.
Yeah, it's the first time
in
for
the
these
new digs.
two. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what's going through your head when you're like, oh, the Babylon Bee. I know that name. Let's go. And then you show up to this little 200.
No, this is great. I mean, it's appropriate with a
well,
Christmas
now I
tree.
get that
It feels
now,
like
but
home.
I'm saying before when it was 200 square foot.
Yeah.
Office.
It's a lot bigger than my studio. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It was an upgrade from Kyle's garage.
It was.
Yes.
We never did have a guest in my garage though.
Yeah,
we never invited anyone in.
My studio is the closet because now everybody's home because of COVID or whatever. So I had an 18-year-old son. I still have him, but he was supposed to go to college this year. And it was going to be really exciting because, he's going to start his adult life. He's going to get off on his feet. This is what we've been preparing him for. But it's also was going to be great because it was going to be my podcast studio. My daughter's trying to convince me to make it into the TikTok room. But that's not happening.
Yeah, what happens
to record TikTok?
Yeah.
Sounds like a dark place.
To record your TikToks. You can have all your background, oh my gosh, Cal, I can't believe I have to explain it to you. But no, I don't know what a TikTok room is either. But now, he's home. And so I don't have my podcast studio. So I have to podcast from my closet. So thank you for hearing my sad story. COVID's been really hard on me.
What's your position on TikTok? Does any of our guests have a TikTok? You've told us your TikTok position, Kellen.
Yeah.
What's Kellen's?
Well, he would get his. Oh, go ahead. You can talk.
Well, mine is that I got.
You may speak.
I got 50,000 followers in a month, and nothing matters. That's the difference. I haven't made more money. It hasn't crossed over to other platforms. It just isn't effective. Yeah. So that's my position.
But also the weird thing he's talking about, how people lip sync your comedy.
Yeah, people
get
lip
more
sync
views?
my audio. It'll just be some girl eating Chinese food in her living room, doing my bits. And then in her comments, people will be like, "You're so funny." Yeah. And I'm like, "No, she's not."
Funny. I think it's really strange. I think for me, one thing that I've had to learn about TikTok is how influential it is. My son's 18, he couldn't care less. My daughter's 13, and it's very influential. And we've taken the position over the years, rather than limiting or rather than banning her from social media, we do limit it, but rather than banning it, we will really get involved in it with her. So we'll watch what she's watching. We have all her account passwords so we can log in and see. And what I find most interesting about TikTok is that she's getting at 13, she's getting a lot of her political opinions from TikTok, even.
Yeah.
Oh, that's healthy.
You know, I am probably the odd man out here, odd person.
You know what we're talking about
I
here?
still.
He's like, why are clocks
I thought
so
we were talking
fascinating?
about clocks. So no, my daughter watches TikToks, but I've asked her half a dozen times to explain to me what these things were, and it didn't make any sense to me. There are short little video clips where people do something stupid.
Yeah.
Or lip sync something stupid, or dance in a stupid way.
So what?
Or like
I don't get the
horrible
appeal
arguments.
though. I just don't get it.
I think the appeal is it's clips. It's short clips.
It's like rapid fire, like boom. That's
Yeah.
funny.
It's easy
I
to
like
scroll
this.
through. It's
It's
like
swiping thing.
It's like YouTube if you don't have to click anything. It's one more
toilet
step
paper.
removed.
It's toilet paper.
It's like, you know that feeling you just want to like hit that roll and just let it go.
the toilet paper
So a
roll.
whole bunch of little ones go past you
Yeah.
in a row, and
Just
then
one goes and the next and
Yeah,
the next. Yep.
and the next. My daughter doesn't watch TV. She watches TikTok. If the show comes on Netflix that she's been interested in, she'll sit down and watch that. But otherwise, it's TikTok.
Seeds
or
are
it's
too long.
YouTube. It's true.
I like that we
I know
feel.
you're joking, but that is the truth. TikTok really is a response to the shortened attention span of this new generation. And I don't know that it's best to fight that. I know a lot of people are like, this is such a shame. And this is the cycle of, technology and humanity. I think the best thing to do with it is to try to understand it, try to understand how your kids are using it, and respond to that. I always tell...
Do you work for Skynet? That's what this is sounding like. Computers aren't dangerous.
Embrace it.
They're your friends.
We don't want to take over. I mean, they don't want to take over.
Do we need to teach you how to hold a coffee mug?
I get passionate.
What are you doing? Yeah.
the kid looks
I
like
feel like very
You
intellectual.
got the Mormon
with this
holding a coffee
mug, yeah.
mug like this, and we're like, no, you.
For everyone listening, I just dumped my water.
it's not an inside job, huh?
I'm holding a coffee mug right now. I'm going to drink it like Trump.
the water bottles with the
Yeah, he always has one hand under his cup. And then, that's how he drinks. It's like the oddest thing in the world, but I guess whatever works for you.
Yeah, like a glass of water, and he would like do this whole like it's a process.
Maybe he just doesn't have confidence in his right hand.
No, on a serious note, though, this TikTok thing and this short attention span stuff really makes it much more difficult for us to make a case that's even modestly complicated, which a lot of issues are nowadays because they're ethical things you got to think through. And kids just don't have the attention span. They'd rather get stimulated by an emotional feeling that sets their opinions instead of thinking through something that's really important that requires thought. It just makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, I don't even know how it feels impossible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you use what they have. So I've seen some TikTokers who do things like they'll do faith-based opinion, or they'll do even politics, conservative or liberal, and they distill. There is almost an art to it of distilling down an idea to. You're right. You can't convey a complete idea in 15 seconds or whatever, but you can convey enough to foster curiosity. So I'm homeschooling my daughter this year, and we are talking about the origins of the universe, and we're using a Christian curriculum. So we're talking about creationism alongside evolution. And we talked about the Big Bang Theory, and she wasn't very interested in it at all. And I asked her one question. I was like, I'm going to ask you this question, and then you can go to lunch and we'll talk about it later. Can something come from nothing? And she thought it was the silliest thing, but it was one question. It took me 5 seconds to ask, and then later when we came back, we had like an hour-long conversation
that's great.
about it.
Well, we're doing a thing.
It could be used.
We have a thing called Red Pen Logic that we just launched 3 or 4 months ago, and we got a really great response. And Tim Barnett from our team, who's kind of a goofy guy with a real rubbery face, decided as a teacher.
What a weird
It's kind of like who's the I was trying to
He's
think
had a
of
lot of surgery.
Yeah, well, he just can make all these faces, but it comes in.
It's like Jim Carrey-ish. I get it now.
That's the guy I'm thinking of. He's like a Jim Carrey, but it fits
sounded
into this
serious.
broader.
Like it's a condition. We have a fundraiser.
That's right.
raising awareness for
literally
What he
erase
does is
things
he takes something off the internet, like a tweet. It's really short, where somebody says something really bizarre against Christianity, and then gets a lot of thumbs up, but it's silly. And so then he red pens it, and then does like a 4 or 5 minute video that goes along with it. But the video is all these short little snappy parts. It's all cut together, so you get all this jumpiness to it, and his funny faces and other graphics that are built into it. So you got a lot of eye candy in it, and those have been really popular.
Let's look
I'm
at his
wondering
face.
if
Is
this
that
whole
rubber?
trend about TikTok and the short things make a difference. Oh, you're seeing some of them there. Yeah. They're coming
Would you
up.
describe that face?
Oh, you're
as
looking for
rubber?
his rubbery face.
Yeah, he's got a gang.
Notice how jumpy it is. So it's like switch, 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 switch. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's like a Christian standards and TikTok. I don't know. But they're a lot of fun. Red Pen Logic on YouTube.
It is interesting to see like we have TikTok on the one hot side, but then there's also Joe Rogan's 3-hour podcast on the other. So I'm not sure where stuff is going.
Yeah, it's one or the other. Maybe Greg could present a complex argument, and then Kira will distill it down into a TikTok video.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not the TikToker.
But you're the
No, it
expert.
doesn't matter. Just back to your Big Bang. A Big Bang needs a Big Bang.
Yeah. Can something come
There you
up?
go. Big Bang needs a
Think
Big
about it.
Banger.
The kids will just
Right
laugh
there.
at the word Big Banger.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why it's memorable.
British kids.
But that's the Kalam cosmological argument in one
The
line.
thing is, wait.
But a little bit more titillating, I guess, after a fashion.
I have been working on apologetic, like a little apologetic study for the high school youth group at our church, and it's hit bumps in the road. We haven't ever started yet, but that was one of the challenges I was having. Like, how do you? Because I go to like what we would call a seeker-friendly church, so the deep work gets done in the small groups.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like these are kids that are used to going to a youth group where it's like lights, camera, action. Like we have a smoke machine and we have lights and it's crazy. And everything is like, we're giving away these prizes. I can't, it's just like that. So how do you get those kids to like hone in on these very big ideas that aren't usually discussed? And as I was going through the curriculum and just researching a lot of apologists and looking at YouTube, and I use this technique all the time with my kids, like the one thing that I think is the most effective teaching tool with kids is asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
You ask the question and then let them give their answer.
Yeah, you're like, what's the theory of relativity?
Yeah.
And then they tell you.
No, wrong. Why do you even
Try that
bother answering questions?
So I'm going to do with my 15-year-old. Hey, today, what's trigonometry? Go. Hour later, exactly. I get what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
Fist fight is going to break out on this podcast soon.
The smoke machine, that's funny to me. I was just thinking about bowling, how we've had to make bowling seem fun. You know what I mean? Like, they have to add things to it.
Yeah, all
bowling
kinds of
is
things.
fun. Like, it's a fun game. I just don't think that, like, it's not a sport. And don't hate me for thinking that. You can still play it. I don't think that if you can accidentally do the best thing in that game, maybe it's not athletic. Like a 6-year-old
like in
couldn't
basketball,
just
you
like...
can't accidentally slam dunk a basketball.
Imagine like a 5-year-old just stumbling into Fenway Park with like a bat and like tripping and hitting a home run.
All right. I'm lost again. Back to TikTok. The smoke thing, I get. That's vaping. All right, I get that smoke machine. Now, but what's the bow-legged thing?
What? Bow-legged?
No, bowling.
Bowling.
He said
Oh, bowling.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry. It's my fault because he had to turn his hearing aid down because of my cackle. I cackle so much he had to turn his hearing aid down. So
It
now
changes the
I put it in no cackle mode, but then I end up losing some other things too, like the K's and the B's and the whatever. So this is bowling.
We should have just leaned into it like, yeah, these bow-legged people, it's time they stop.
I honestly, well, look at anything can happen nowadays. I thought this was a new kind of game, the bow-legged game. That would be politically incorrect, but that would not be nice to bow-legged people.
That's how ridiculous of an
I thought
era
the
we are.
smoke was to kind of cover up the bow legs.
Yeah, like a
Crazy what is
like
happening.
I'm just trying to put it all together. See, this is the problem when you have bad hearing. You just get little pieces, and you're trying to
You're in a
construct
strange
something.
world.
This is a metaphor for the current state of news and culture.
What
This is a metaphor. You're only getting bits and pieces.
What a crazy
look at-
ad that would be. Hey, you know how, don't you hate it after you ride a horse for 9 hours? Isn't it embarrassing waddling home after that? Well, introducing the portable smoke machine. Hide those awkward knees.
This is why
rock and
hard
roll
to
bow-legged night.
I wonder if you guys run into this in Babylon Bee, though. It'd be as hard to parody things anymore. Because once you do a parody, a couple of weeks later, it shows up in a headline somewhere in a newspaper as an actuality.
It's
you
true.
know? And I used to talk about, people who had a gender dysphoria, which is a terrible situation, but now it's become a fad, all right? And I thought, well, what if I thought I was a rabbit? Would you be required to put me in a cage and feed me carrots and treat me like I thought I was?
Yes.
Well, that was parody. Then I find out there are people who believe they're rabbits. And there are all kinds of animals. You can go online, there's websites to it. So it's just hard to keep up with the changes now because what was weird and unthinkable a couple of years ago or a couple of months ago, people are now actively promoting seriously.
For sure.
Crazy.
Now what's weird and unthinkable is like, oh, I'm just going to be married with 2 kids and I'm going to live my life peacefully and have a middle-class job and then die a quiet life. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
If you only have 2 kids, you definitely don't think you're a rabbit.
Now I can't stop picturing you doing like a comedy set at an old folks home where you keep having to shout or they just keep mistaking the punchline.
We don't understand this bow-legged bit.
No, I said.
I'm not saying that you're at an old folks home. I'm just
Just implying. Have you ever done any old folks home gigs?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
How'd those go?
Exactly how you think. You mean casinos, right? No, it's just a sea of faces, and at that point, you know that you're just
Confusion.
donating your time like you're doing. It's a service project. Yeah.
Pro bono.
Yeah.
Sure.
They probably just think this like the karaoke machine is broken, so this guy's just talking stuff. Yeah.
talking stuff. Fantastic.
So Ethan, I just remember my son, my 9-year-old and my 4-year-old, they watch VeggieTales and they're so excited now because after reading Brave Ollie Possum, which you wrote.
Thank you. Thanks for the plug.
Which you can find on Amazon. /Kellen Erskine, I get 10%. But he's so excited. Like yesterday he told me they watched an episode and he saw Ethan Nicole. He saw your name
you watched
as
the ones
a writer.
I actually wrote.
Yeah. That you wrote on it. And then my 4-year-old says, what does that mean that your credit is on VeggieTales? And I said, that means that's when Ethan peaked.
With what episode?
I have no idea. My 9-year-old was like, what does that mean? I was like, well, now he works for the Babylon Bee. And they're like, what's that? And I said, well, Like it's like if the Onion was run by Chick-fil-A. That's like, and he says that doesn't make sense.
Description I've ever heard in my life.
He says that doesn't make sense, and I said neither does celery with invisible arms. So why don't you
Oh, we debated
go
that
back to
constantly.
watching your vegetables?
I've told you this. This is why my daughter refused to watch VeggieTales. My son, VeggieTales from birth, obsessed with it. My daughter could not get her to watch it. One day I was like, why don't you like it? Such a sweet show. She's like, I'm uncomfortable that the tomato doesn't have arms. She just really does not appreciate the fact that the vegetables do not have arms. So that sparked a conversation because, as I said, I like to ask questions. Yeah. So what would it look like if the vegetable had arms? Would you feel more comfortable with the arms? And so we sat down and drew some things, and the arms were creepier.
Yeah,
so she just decided
the eyes
to
are creepy too.
Yeah, she just put VeggieTales away.
You know what the creepiest thing is? They eat French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they eat, like, we actually have a shot in one where Bob is eating a sandwich with a slice of tomato in it.
Oh my.
Flower bed.
We just basically just decided that there's a different world of other vegetables that aren't alive that they eat.
Yeah.
We just don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. We always had the theory because they live in a house, but there's never any humans there. So we were thinking it was a post-apocalyptic thing. Where there's, in certain rooms, there might be some dead bodies.
Oh, how great would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go outside one day and it's just giant skeletons.
Yeah. So you do the post-rapture song. The rapture happened. Everybody's dead.
Is there a Mormon equivalent to VeggieTales? Like, 'cause Christian culture just knocks off secular culture like 15 years later. Do Mormons then
They've Aquabat,
follow
super
like
show.
15
I
years
just
later?
told
Or-
you we watch it.
No, I know, yeah. So I'm wondering if you have your own. Or
Like
it's
we've
you
made our own.
Yeah,
just
is there a
kinda
Mormon
coast
VeggieTales?
No, we're just writing your curtails. Yeah.
I guess it's the Aquabats. I don't know.
There's no.
Aquabat super show.
That's true. Aquabats.
So, Greg, can you analyze the VeggieTales slogan from a theological perspective?
What's VeggieTales?
God made you special,
Wait, you
and He
don't-
loves you very much. Accurate or not?
God made you special. He loves you very much.
Well, I'm not a real fan of slogans except for ones like "A Big Bang Needs a Big Banger." You know, those work for me.
TikTok slogans.
So, probably a lot of slogans. You know, I call them pastorisms. You know, God loves the sinner, but He hates the sin. And there's a measure of truth in some of this, but there's also it's not entirely truthful because God's pretty mad at the sinner too. You know, and that's also in the Psalms and a lot of other places. And so, you know, these things they communicate half truths, and that's part of the problem with the slogans, in my view. A lot of the pastorisms, you know, and that's like some of them. I'm not a VeggieTales fan because
you're an adult.
I eat broccoli, you know, and cucumbers and tomatoes and stuff like that. So,
But VeggieTales was very good. Like, for instance, in this case, this is distilling the message for kids. So
Yeah.
you would think a slogan, like, how would you have these conversations with children? Like, deeper kind of introducing deeper concepts of the nuances of God to a...
well, what I'd
Small
want to
town.
do is I want to communicate two things that are true. God is good and we're not. And God cares enough about us to provide forgiveness when we realize we're not good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the good news and the bad news. And a lot of these kinds of things, they just invest all the good news, good news, good news, good news, good news. So everybody feels good. And then nobody ever feels a need to come before God in a repentant attitude to say, oh man, I'm a mess. And we are. Look at here. Right.
Look at this room
But that's
right
a critical
now.
part of that's a critical part of the whole message, you know, and that I think gets left behind in a lot of these vacation Bible school kind of approaches. You know,
I
it's just
agree.
all how wonderful God loves you, and you're going to really catch hell if you don't straighten out or something like that. You don't hear that part,
Yeah.
you know, but that's part of the message too.
Is
you
there
know.
Calvinist ciders like God made you for destruction, Any of these despised you from the beginning.
Is that like, what's the Calvinist VeggieTales
Calvinist
slogan?
Despised you from before you were born.
God made you, and you have no choices on earth. So give up now.
Well, that's probably the kind of thing that can't be unwrapped very carefully in a comic situation like this. It's complicated.
There's no Calvinist TikToks to help you sort through.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
I bet there are Calvinist TikToks.
We'll make the first one.
Somebody find it now.
In VeggieTales, did you ever bring up like heaven and then like was hell the food process or like the garbage disposal?
No, yeah, anything like that, they would. Nothing.
No
They're really
sad things or
strict.
bad things in
Yeah, that was
the
hard.
VeggieTales universe.
I've told this story before, but like, because you have to. Our show was very limited. It was more like a sitcom, so we couldn't go on Noah's Ark adventures and things. We had to just have like, they learn a lesson in daily life. So they would have to do something wrong to learn to do the right thing. And they really didn't like that whenever the characters did something wrong. So we had an episode where they get angry at each other. And the episode is called Bob and Larry Getting Angry. The producer's big note was, can they not get angry?
Mildly upset. Bob and Larry get mildly upset.
And it's not entertaining if they don't get really mad.
Yeah.
Like they're throwing things at each other.
And there's weird theological rules, like the vegetables don't actually accept Jesus. Like they're not.
Yeah, they never
actually
even talk
Christian.
about Jesus because Jesus didn't die for vegetables.
Yes,
There's no like celery
always
Jesus that died for
Yeah.
them.
I always
that's
noticed
right.
that. Yeah. That's interesting. That is a thing I always.
And there's really like
noticed as a young
12
mom.
Bible verses you can use. We just keep cycling through them.
Basically.
Be nice. Don't kill people.
But it's a formula. I do. It's the same.
That sounds like if Moses went up a second time because he broke all the commandments. He's like, what were those again? And he's like, look, be nice, don't kill people.
It's the Moses TikTok version of
It's two of them and then etc.
It's the same kind of concept. This is why I love Hallmark Christmas movies. So I'll take a moment to plug my Hallmark podcast, A Very Merry Podcast with Kira Davis and Emily Hampton, available wherever you find your podcast. But we break down Hallmark Christmas movies. I love them. And everyone always says, how can you watch it? It's the same thing over and over again. But to me, that's what I like. But there's a whole list of rules for writing those movies. And one of them is, nobody has anything too terribly tragic happen to them. There are widowers in the Hallmark universe, but it happened a long time ago. It's not recent. There's usually not.
There's a Hallmark universe, like a whole.
Oh, yeah. There's a Hallmark Christmas universe. Yeah, the Hallmark Christmas universe. There's no bitter divorces. There's very few divorces, but the few divorces that there are very affable. They're very. They're best friends. They're co-parenting, amazing. There's rarely any babies in the Hallmark universe because babies are too close to the actual act of making babies. So you don't have really babies.
They're also really
universe.
messy.
Yeah, they're messy. That's right. And you can only have one kid. Typically, more than one kid would denote that you're maybe a little stressed or a little. But one kid, you need a precocious kid. There's got to be one in every script. But only one. Two precocious kids is
A fight.
overbearing.
That's a fight.
So,
Do
but
the
it's same
vegetables
thing.
talk? Is that another part?
Hang on. Wait a second, Kellen. We need a VeggieTales Hallmark Christmas
Crossover.
movie. This is happening. We need to make it happen.
What are some titles of these movies?
Of the VeggieTales Hallmark movies?
Hallmark Christmas movies.
Oh, they're all the same. They must have some kind of generator. So, for instance, there's a movie called The Christmas Miracle, but it should not be confused with Miracle at Christmas, which are two different movies. Also, there's Time for Us to Come Home for Christmas, but please don't be so stupid and naive as to mix that up with Time for Me to Come Home for Christmas.
Those are two actual.
Those are two movies that are different Hallmark movies. Yes.
There's Once Upon a Christmas
Yes.
Miracle.
A Royal Christmas, one of my favorite. I love a good little small town girl
Wait,
goes
go
and
back
finds
up. Go back up.
a
Prince Leopold, heir to the throne
That's a
of
great
Sardinia, wishes to marry his young love,
So I'm
Emily
curious.
Taylor, a humble seamstress from Philadelphia.
The episode of our Hallmark podcast this year is called Revolution in Sardinia, because she comes and she's the plain American girl that marries the prince, and then I posited that the whole country fell into revolution because she just destroyed thousands of years of tradition in one movie.
So this is every Hallmark movie, right? I'm gonna try and do it in TikTok length.
Okay, I better watch it.
A man and a woman meet each other, but they really don't match up. But then they get together almost, and then they totally don't get together. And then finally they really get together.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. That's exactly it. And you're always left to wonder,
It's Henry Winkler.
are they going to make it? Are these two crazy kids going to fall in love? And they always do.
How great would it be if, like, the president or the producer or whatever on like, somebody's getting fired, the editor, right before it goes out? Like, they break up at the end. One of them falls off a building. The end. Like, what would that do?
That goes to Lifetime.
To
That movie goes to Lifetime.
Lifetime does like the women who murder their abusive husband.
I've often threatened to write a Hallmark sequel script to all the Christmas movies that just follows the divorced partners of these people. Like, you never hear that story, but like, I want to know what Bob's ex-wife thinks about his idyllic life in Pinecone Valley, where he meets this beautiful idyllic woman and they settle down for a beautiful idyllic life. Meanwhile, the ex-wife's like strung out on drugs.
Skid Row.
Yeah, she's on Skid Row. Like, I think there's a darker story in the Hallmark universe to be told.
It would be a different card company, though. I think, probably.
Would not be Hallmark.
So Greg Koukl, noted apologist. You've debated huge people, huge names. Do you have an opinion as Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Well, I love Die Hard, man, and it happened at Christmas. So I think we even have.
You don't have like the 5 points of the Die Hard argument?
Yeah, I guess the first question: what is it? What makes a Christmas movie? It just happening at Christmas time. No, I think it's got to have more than that.
It does,
But
right?
I like Die Hard, and like the whole deal. In fact, I saw it again about 6 months ago, and that spawned a whole series of movies. That did they also happen at Christmas? All the other
The
ones.
second one did again.
Second one,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think somebody got a big icicle to his head at that one.
So.
That was cool.
My argument is, okay.
The icicle in the head would improve its quality as a Christmas movie, I think.
Well, it's a great murder weapon too because it disappears.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Going on my murder list.
I had a very strange friend walk me. He goes, "You know
Yeah.
what the best murder weapon is? An icicle."
I do have a murder list, actually.
Sounds like another Hallmark movie.
But I just saw Home Alone again too. It's on your list, and that was a fabulous movie. I even watched Home Alone 2 because it's kind of the
actually a good
same
one.
deal.
Yeah,
It's almost the
that's a good
same
one, too.
movie.
Is that the New York one?
Yeah.
That's the New York one.
But and the same cast and everything, so it was great. We started watching Home Alone 3, and it was a totally different thing. I couldn't even get through the
It's
first
a different
15
kid,
minutes.
right?
Everything's
Isn't the third
different.
one a different kid? I don't even
Yeah,
think
it's
they
a
make a fourth
whole. Everything's
I don't
different.
know. Maybe they did. I don't
It's
know.
just some kid around Christmas time who gets involved in some spy ring or something like that. So I don't know.
As it goes on, the kid gets younger, but he's still Kevin McAllister, and he still has the history of the older Kevin McAllister from the previous movies. He still refers back to it, yeah. But he's a different, younger kid.
Holy cow, what a traumatic childhood.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, but
Also, these things are like happening. So basically, that would mean like within 2 years, he's had like 5 traumatic experiences where his parents have left
they've left him, and
Why weren't traumatic
criminals
to
are trying
him?
to murder him.
They were great adventures to him. He loved it.
Well,
He
the
was
next one
great.
needs to
It was
be
trauma to
Foster Home
it
Alone.
was trauma to his mom. That's what was
it's
traumatic.
just, well, she was the one that left him, though.
The next time you watch it, pay attention to the dad because he couldn't care less the entire
We
time.
literally watched this the other night.
Yeah. His mom's like, Kevin! And he's like, would you keep it down? I'm trying to sleep. We're flying to Europe. The whole time, even when they come home, he just walks in and he's like, Kevin? Like, he doesn't even know.
But didn't John Hughes direct Home Alone or write it?
Chris Columbus.
Directed. John Hughes wrote it.
Right.
So that's the John Hughes.
He also wrote the
marker,
third one,
right?
too.
Like a uncaring
okay.
father, like parents who are completely clueless. That's the John Hughes.
He was working out some
Breakfast
issues.
Club
through
guy.
the script writing.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I want to see the grown-up Home Alone where he's realized that he has some kind of genetic predisposition for criminals to come after him, and so he just sets up these traps around his house.
No,
And
that's
people just walk.
waiting.
It's like Rambo 5.
it's Saw.
Yeah, I saw. There you go.
I was going to say the
McAllister
grown-up
grows
Home
up to be
Alone is
Jigsaw.
Yeah.
just
I like-
Macaulay Culkin's life, adult life. He seems
Or
to.
Straw Dogs or something. Was that the movie? I can't remember what it's called.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I watch it every Christmas while I'm
Amen.
decorating my tree. It takes me exactly the run time to decorate my tree. Opening scene, first ornament goes on. Closing scene, that is when the Christmas topper goes on. It is precisely timed. And my kids complain about it every year. And every year they still sit and watch it and listen to me quote all the lines and roll their eyes. It's a Christmas movie to me. I
All the
think it
lines?
is.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them.
That was my
I'm not like you, Kyle. I don't think just-
Well, I'm thinking of some particular lines.
We're
You
kids.
might-
I said them all.
Yippee-ki-yay.
that was my first
Sure.
Alan Rickman movie too. I really liked.
Oh, he is
It was
so
Alan Rickman's
good.
first movie.
Great.
But
But I'll tell you one the one that got a soft spot in my
He had
heart
done some TV before. That was the very first time in a film.
was Scrooged.
Oh, it's a great movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
You've never seen Scrooge?
In a
I've
long-
never
I-
seen it, but he
I've
says
briefly seen it. A long
Watch
time
it.
ago.
I
Bill
watched
Murray?
it with the kids a while
Bill
back,
Murray.
and I kind of regretted that. I don't think it's
yeah,
a good
it
one.
was,
Yeah, I had forgotten.
When I got older and with kids, it seemed more crude.
It was a bit more mature, yeah.
Yeah,
Anything that was
it's just
PG in the
one of the
80s
cleverest
is not
adaptations
PG.
of the
Right.
story.
We
one of
also
the
smoked with
cleverest.
our kids in the cars in the 80s and smoked on airplanes. Yeah, but Scrooge is a great movie, though. Bill
Why isn't that up
Murray.
there? That's
Yeah, you guys, you
kinda falls
failed.
Well, these are supposed to be debatable.
these
I
are
don't know
the
why
debatable
Home Alone-
ones,
yeah.
right? Scrooged.
Gremlins.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess.
They're attacking a Santa Claus.
Is that what makes a Christmas movie?
Santa's in it.
Is that what makes a Christmas movie? If Santa's in
Well, we
it?
need to decide what makes.
that's what I say. We need an
Die Hard doesn't
ontological
have Santa in
definition
it.
here of what a Christmas movie. I think Christmas has to be integral to the plot,
I do too.
which would
Is it integral to
Well,
Die
why
Hard?
is
That's
Lord of the
question.
Rings up there then?
Yes, thank you. Why is Lord of the Rings up there?
There's
'Cause it's
elves.
got
It's
fairies and
debatable.
elves
Some
and
people
stuff?
some people say they always watch Lord of the Rings at Christmas, like it's some.
Gandalf looks kind of like Santa.
So
I think it's because
Okay.
Sauron is like, I'm taking over the world. Merry Christmas to me.
He's like the Grinch.
He's like the Grinch. Okay,
Middle
he's
Earth
like
is
the
my
Grinch.
gift to myself.
He's like the Grinch.
Sure.
And then who would Santa Claus be?
It has elves.
Gandalf?
There's elves.
There's elves.
I already said that.
We
You already
should
rolled
talk
your eyes
about
at
the
me.
difference between Lord of the Rings elves and Santa's elves. They're not
Yeah, what
the
is the-
same
Well,
class
okay.
of
Well, they both
people.
have pointy ears.
So in The Hobbit, they were closer to Santa. They were like Keebler elves, and when they show up in Rivendell, they're all dancing, going tra la 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 la. And then by the time you're a Lord of the Rings, he's like, "Oh, that's lame," and he makes them like these warriors. So it developed.
Not even short.
Yeah,
How great would it have been if Peter Jackson ruined Lord of the Rings by everything is great, but then once they get to Rivendell, they're like making wooden ducks.
They live in cookie trees.
Trade.
I'm trying to imagine that scene with Kate. What's her face? She's the queen elf when she gets all
Galadriel.
ragey and like, if she was like
queen of
2 feet.
Dark Lord.
You will fear me. You will fear me.
Sean Bean is trying so hard to be serious. Like one does not just, and then the background there's like cookies. I'm trying to make a point.
Okay,
You
well,
can't just go to.
Batman Returns cannot be a Christmas movie. I don't think Christmas is central
'Cause
to
it
that
sucks?
movie. What? Watch your
It's bizarre.
mouth.
I rewatched
that
it
movie.
recently. It's like, that's just a strange
Yeah.
mess of a movie.
I loved it.
Penguin cat.
I think it's one of those things. If you
But
grew
there's a
up
lot of
with it as a
Christmassy stuff
kid,
going
but I the first time I watched it, I was an adult, and it is bizarre. For
It
me,
is,
like,
you're right, yeah.
Goonies is the same thing. Like I don't.
Goonies holds up.
Goonies
It
holds
doesn't.
up.
But you never didn't see it as a kid, and then only first saw it when you were 25.
I
It's
hardly
a
remembered it as a
terrible
kid,
Yeah.
and I rewatched it.
I took my kids to see it in the theater. Remember when we used to be able to go to the theaters?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I took my kids to see it last year. I guess it came out. And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. My daughter, who at the time was about 11 or 12, really enjoyed it. And my son, who is in his late teens, was like, this is lame. But to me, I still thought it was a great adventure and really clever. And I don't know, it held up for me. Even a lot of the silly effects, and it didn't rely on it.
That was one of those movies, though. I just got it on Netflix about 4 weeks ago, and I ran it because I thought my kids would like it. And I ran it in, and in 15 minutes into the movie, I couldn't take it anymore because these kids were so awful
all the time. Yes.
They were so completely
It's
awful.
every 80s movie. The kids are always jerks. I don't know. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch Goonies. I watched it as an adult, and I didn't get it. So
I wasn't a kid in the 80s, so.
It's just one of those things, like, I loved Willow as a kid, and now when I watch it, I can only see it as I did as a kid. But it's probably a really weird, horribly done movie. But Goonies, I realized watching it, there's one part when they're underground and they're messing with pipes or something, and then it's like
and all the pipes
it's
above
making
ground.
toilets above ground. And just as an adult sitting there, I was like, that's not how plumbing works.
Sketching out a diagram.
Oh
You have to see those things as a kid.
I guess you're right.
Like Star Wars is another one that I can only see innocently, but if you watch it now, you're like, I mean, how did the Death Star in the first Star Wars, how did it follow something that went light speed, but once it gets to the planet, it takes like 35 minutes to get to the other side of it? But I'm glad I didn't think that way, as a 6-year-old.
There's an in-universe explanation for that.
Because if
Kyle, do tell. We're fascinated to know.
Actually,
I don't know what it is, but I know I've Googled it before, and there's people that they will write whole, massive
like
Quora
sure.
responses on it. And exactly why it couldn't warp around the gas giant Yavin.
But maybe if I had saw that for the first time when I was 30, I would be like, what is this, Goonies? None of these make sense.
So everyone always talks about Iron Man 3 as being a Christmas movie. I try to put Iron Man 2 and 3 out of my memory.
Yes.
And 3 must take place during
there's
Christmas?
some Christmas stuff in there, I think. Well, Shane Black wrote it. Every Shane Black movie has Christmas.
It has Christmas.
It's
a good little
Lethal
plot
Weapons,
device.
which is another Christmas movie.
Iron Man 3 is the sequeliest sequel ever. Because Iron Man 2, they're like, what if there were 2 Iron Men?
Yeah.
And then in Iron Man 3, they're like, what if there were 50?
And there's a kid.
Well, it takes the specialness out of it. And I hate the part where he runs out of gas when he's flying across the country. He lands in a random town, and then the first just garage he breaks into happens to be a kid who likes to tinker with stuff and has all the tools that he needs.
One of the Goonies.
Chinese
All
kid.
grown up. Yeah, Data.
That's how I felt about Rise of Skywalker. Like, they're like, okay, Death Star 1, Death Star 2. They get to The Force Awakens, they're like, what about giant Death Star? And then they get to Force Awakens, they're like, what about 1,000?
What about 11 billion, extra billion Death Star?
Really running out of
We'll give you the same destructive weapon, but we'll rip away everything else you love about this universe. Not bitter.
He has strong opinions over there. You never know when Kira has a strong opinion.
No, you definitely
Say anything about it.
never will
I love
know.
the idea of the ammo too. Like if you were gonna destroy a bunch of grenades, like they would all explode with grenade force. But when they go in Rise of Skywalker, when they go to the Star Destroyers that have planet-killing guns, they blow them up. They're just like.
There's an in-universe explanation.
In-universe
for that,
explanation.
though. Yes,
Actually.
actually.
Pull that article up, Dean. Well, we want to rank the December holidays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Why not?
So I Googled a list of December holidays, and here's what we got.
Oh, God.
Giving Tuesday.
Wow, there's a lot.
So Giving Tuesday is the one that they do after you buy all that stuff for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then they're like, oh, I guess we'd better have a giving day.
Well, because here's another way for corporations to get you to give them money. Donate to our fund, and we write that off on our taxes. Black Monday, Giving Tuesday. It's just another
Well, there's Cyber Monday. Wait, Black Friday.
Black Friday, right? Sorry, it's
all
my
mixed
bad.
up.
Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Giving Tuesday.
Well, I like Giving
Wednesday.
Tuesday because Standard Reason asked for money on Giving Tuesday, and we got some.
Kira's like, oh, these corporations
on board
asking
with that
for
one.
money.
Fine with me.
Give us money.
So what's that? What tier is that?
What are we ranking? Do we ever supposed to rank?
Low.
Hey,
Hello?
today is winter solstice, isn't it?
So we
Today
missed-
is winter solstice.
I said yesterday, driving home with my daughter and his girlfriend, tomorrow is the longest day in the year. And I thought, wait a minute, every day is the same length. Then I realized I'd gotten the whole daylight thing upside down and backwards. And so my daughter's friend had to tell me, no, it's the shortest day in the year. So how did they do that?
It was a real journey.
It's old timers disease. That's what it is.
Well, every day that you're at the Babylon Bee is the longest day of the year.
Bring all these people on to like
I
the
know.
solstice.
Destroy us.
The Onion if Chick-fil-A ran it.
What is that? I still trying to figure what that means.
So you need to
that
put
was-
that on a shirt.
I'm gonna be lying in bed tonight and just like
It was such a funny moment because I thought I was so clever, but my kids obviously didn't.
Right.
They didn't
But that's
get it.
everything,
I was
yeah.
like, you don't know, but that was really
No,
that was a good one.
You're too stupid to know, but that was an amazing joke. Someday you'll understand. No, I think Giving Tuesday should be last just because I think it's a generated holiday, and in December we have Christmas, which is literally about gifts and giving. So it just feels a bit redundant. And frankly, I think it's an attempt to erase Jesus. So I don't like it.
Whoa, went there.
There you go. I'm
Giving
throwing it
Tuesday
down.
is an attempt to erase Jesus?
I feel like an old lady, but I've been noticing a
Yeah, but
lot
it's a
this
month
year. Like
before Christmas.
No, but it's still in December, and the whole month of December is about Christmas, and Christmas is about
Okay.
Jesus. But we do all this stuff that has nothing to do with Jesus, even though the Christmas season is about Jesus. Because dare I say it, Jesus is the reason for the season.
Yeah,
I think
they
any,
are,
go ahead.
I was gonna say they are trying to get rid of him, sort of like how VeggieTales did.
Dang.
Hey, it was a good paycheck.
We got rid of Jesus, but I was
Sold
paid
out.
well.
Yeah, sold out. Once we start seeing commercials, Christmas commercials with people with no arms, then we know.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Levitating
really
things in front of them,
sacrilegious.
they're amputated.
You see all these holidays that are always like, talk like a pirate day, or and it's like anybody who just invents a holiday doesn't understand like how a holiday
Yeah.
They're like a Guinness record.
comes about.
A holiday is
Yeah.
literally a holy day.
And there's like always
Holiday.
thousands of years of history that lead up to, you know
Right.
what, we're going to start celebrating this day. And
So like December 13th.
is Taylor Swift's
Taylor
birthday.
Swift's birthday. Okay, that's above Giving Tuesday.
Are you a Taylor Swift fan?
Well, no, but I think she's very influential, and she has a lot of fans, and birthdays are great. I mean, December is a month about a very important birthday. So,
Taylor Swift?
yeah, let's put Taylor Swift at least. She doesn't deserve to be last.
She's released
Second to
2
last.
albums since COVID hit.
Oh, he's putting them in
So
order.
is
like
Kwanzaa
two
really like a genuine holiday, or did somebody just
That's
invent
another made
that?
up one.
No,
That would happen in
Be
the
careful.
60s.
Yeah,
We better let Kira
Yeah,
be the
let's-
spokesman on this.
Kira, would you like to speak about Kwanzaa while we all
as
listen?
the representative, as the person who makes up 100% of the diversity in this room today, I will say 2 things. Kwanzaa is a real holiday. People celebrate it. I had to celebrate it when I was a kid. My stepmom and dad went through like a phase where we're not doing Christmas, we're doing Kwanzaa.
Yeah, but wasn't it invented in the 60s?
It was invented in the 60s, yes. And but people still celebrate it, and it sucks.
So yeah, what do you do?
That was going.
I always hated it. It just was it's there's a lot of it really mirrors Hanukkah in a way, but every day is a different principle. Some of the ideas are cool, like here's a day where you do giving, here's a day where your family creates something together, you make something. There's different things, but you get one gift on each, you open
Sounds
one
like a
gift
Mormon
on each
thing,
day.
you know? Family
It's a
invite.
weird combination of the
Sounds like a
Harvest
Mormon.
Festival and Hanukkah and like general December holiday season. Me and my brother and sister hated it. Like we always hated it. We celebrated it for 5-6 years in a row, and it just was like a big wah wah to Christmas. It was. I would never put anyone through it, but there are people who celebrate it. It's a real thing, and there are people who take it very seriously.
I loved Greg's response to it because you were like, you get together with family, they teach you principles, and Greg's like, ugh, sounds like a Mormon.
Greg,
Didn't quite put it that way, but that's all right. I get the deal.
Mormons always getting together. Anyway, Kwanzaa, I'm going to give y'all permission to put Kwanzaa towards the bottom of the list. Because also Kwanzaa was made up by a convicted murderer, so we don't need to... Yes, the guy that invented Kwanzaa murdered his girlfriend.
You like the Earth Day guy? Earth Day guy did that too.
Yeah. Isn't that
The
funny?
same guy?
It's not.
I do two things: invent holidays and
Kwanzaa.
murder.
Earth Day.
Happy Kwanzaa.
And I'm all out of holidays.
I always heard Kwanzaa was invented by like white liberal college people. Is that
No, but this guy was a college professor and a liberal, but he was a activist in the 60s. And he has quite a violent history, actually. If you research, he's been arrested multiple times for domestic violence, but was a revered professor in academia.
So wait, this is the same guy who did this family Kwanzaa thing?
Yeah.
You do nice things for 6 days in a row?
Yeah. Yep.
on the 7th?
Murder.
There he is.
Oh, this is him.
Yeah. There he is.
So what would you guys give? How long does a
Karinga.
holiday have to be around to be legit for you guys?
Really good question.
Why?
What
100
makes
years.
it legit?
So saying like 2,000 years, yes. 50 years, no. What's the cutoff? How did Halloween squeak by?
Yeah, how long's Halloween been going? That's pretty long.
I mean, the way that we celebrate it, it's a little different because I think
But see, that's what it is.
Snickers have only been around since like the 1600s, I think.
But there's like a history to Halloween and all that leads up to, and
That
it
makes
just
sense.
evolves how you celebrate it.
But the devil has always been around.
That's true. So Halloween's been around since the beginning.
I forget you probably do have listeners that are like,
We don't have a holiday for him, Lynn.
The Halloween. That's the devil's holiday.
It's Halloween. All Hallows Eve.
We did not sell. We're from a very traditional, or my husband, we have two different, my parents were hippies and his parents were pastors.
oh wow.
And but they were very traditional. And when I married, it was like, and in most Black communities too, we really don't celebrate Halloween because this is the devil's holiday. You have Harvest Festival, or what they make, or they do like a costume party where you dress up as your favorite Bible character and everybody comes in a sheet.
Hallelujah party.
Hallelujah party. And then we moved to Orange County. And not only were we the only Black people around for miles, but we were the only people who weren't celebrating Halloween. And our kids were like, we're the only lame people. So after a while, we talked about it. We were like, is this really going to affect our eternal soul if we let our kids put some costumes on and go celebrate? We decided after our first year of being complete outcasts, we decided we can do Halloween. So we do it now, but we do come from a tradition where it's like, oh no, that's Satan's holiday. We do not celebrate that.
You celebrated Satan's holiday because you didn't want to be thought of as weird.
Exactly.
Is that worth it?
It was worth it. Lots of candy.
They should make a Kwanzaa Halloween. Kwanzaa
7 days of.
It's so weird.
It all depends on the candy take,
Yeah.
They just make it.
I do like the
another one.
idea that if Satan was going to create a holiday, if he was sitting like in a board meeting in hell, some guy's like, how about this? Children dress up as their favorite superheroes and then get as much free candy as they want. The devil would be like,
Old Scratch. Yeah, this is a
Flower
did
bed.
you get in here? I just did that so you could bleep it out. But yeah,
The edgy one.
yeah, it's a Great Divorce. No, not Great Divorce. It's a Screw Tape Letters chapter. The whole creation of Halloween, right? No, it's not.
What?
I'm like, he's mistaken. That's not it. We don't joke about C.S. Lewis on this podcast.
What is Boxing Day? I don't know.
Oh,
what it
I'm a
is.
Canadian. I know this.
All right.
It's a Chinese thing, isn't it?
No,
Everything.
Canadian is a.
She's claiming all the
She's like
intersectional.
Kwanzaa. Everyone.
I'm thinking of Boxer Rebellion. That's
No, Boxing Day is actually a holiday in Canada. It's a real day. And I think in Europe too. And it's the day you box up all your Christmas stuff.
Oh,
That's why it's called Boxing Day. And it's
That's
actually
my
a day
favorite
off.
day.
It's actually a day off work.
Nice.
You get Christmas off, you get Boxing Day off. It's the one thing I was always really annoyed after I became an American. Like, nobody does Boxing Day. Like, we're supposed to do Boxing Day stuff. That's when you kind of go see your other family that you didn't get to see on Christmas.
The second stringers.
Yeah, the second lineup. Yeah, that's Boxing Day.
okay.
So
Not what I thought it was.
you box
It's really
up all your stuff.
utilitarian. Like, it's not like
Right.
back in this day when Sir Joseph Boxingham was murdered.
It's like, well, we need a day to pack some stuff up. So
Yeah. It was
the
a lot.
holiday.
It was a lot shorter than take all the broken crap back to Walmart day. Hope you kept the receipt day.
Well,
Well, yeah. Wait, is it International Mutt Day?
What?
See, these are the made-up ones.
Yeah.
International Ninja Day.
That shouldn't even be on there. Just take it off. We're not even going to recognize
Dewey
it.
Decimal System Day? Do we need a day for that?
We really do these days. I think the Dewey Decimal System has lost a lot of appreciation. We could use. In fact, we should make this day as big as Christmas.
Do you have strong opinions about everything?
Yes.
Here's the thing about the Dewey Decimal System.
I literally get paid to tell people what I think. It was my dream job, and I made it happen.
Yes.
So what do you do on that day?
On Dewey Decimal System Day?
Yeah, what's the...
You got to go to the library.
Okay.
You go to the library and you use the Dewey
Look
Decimal
through
System
cards.
to manually look up where the books are.
Right.
And then you also
You have
give each
a-
other books.
Wait, and today is supposedly the longest day of the year.
Colin, what are you saying? That's not fun? That's not
I
going to be
just
fun?
love the idea. You know how it usually takes 5 seconds to find a book at a library? Well, let me tell you about this holiday.
You know what? I think it's brilliant. And I don't think it's any less torturous than me having to leave here and go straight to Walmart so I can buy stupid freaking stocking stuffers for 1 million people and spend money that I could be spending on myself. On socks and candy. I don't think it's any more of an inconvenience. Let's bring back the Dewey Decimal System. Let's do it, you guys.
I do like how Amazon wish lists made Christmas just like, you buy me off this
Yeah.
list and I will buy the exact things you want
Yes.
off this list. And it's not, like, you used to get weird stuff you didn't want. And
Yeah.
you'd buy people gifts they didn't want. And now it's just
This is,
super
like,
efficient.
special.
It's like, well,
In a box just shows your house and
But
it's there. It's
we've
not
actually
wrapped.
streamlined it one more. It's instead of putting it on a wish list for me, I just hit buy.
yeah.
Next day I got it.
Done.
Big surprise, right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I love International Ninja Day. I don't even know if that's real, but I'm gonna just bring it up now to people. Like, did you know that yesterday is International Ninja Day? And they'll be like, I had no idea. And I'll be like, that's the point.
I guess you wouldn't know, right? Why would they announce it?
International Ninja Day.
5th December.
5th of December.
Yeah, they have the big parade that goes through town.
Ninja
Nobody sees
Burger
it.
created it. What is Ninja Burger?
Espionage, assassination. These are the things you do on International Ninja
That
Day.
looks like a
Guerrilla
COVID mask.
warfare
Try to
and
get one
sabotage.
stealth
These
kill.
are the skills
I
of the
see
ninja.
a lot of those guys around nowadays.
Yeah.
Now, this is the holiday Satan should have created.
How to celebrate right here.
There are thousands of movies
You
about
can watch
ninjas.
ninja movies.
Really, that counts?
Do you give gifts? You order takeout? You could cook a traditional Japanese or Chinese meal.
Still
A
racist.
white guy definitely wrote this. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's like, Japanese or Chinese, wherever ninjas are from.
Somewhere over there.
This is terrible.
Never forget that ninjas were oppressed, hungry commoners before they were the most feared warriors in the world. Oh yeah, a white guy definitely wrote this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he probably got a sword for Christmas.
Well, these are modern ninjas, it says there. So,
Oh,
So you could watch Three Ninjas and cover your bases.
That's an accurate depiction of ninja.
International Ninja Day. it's I think it goes over Giving Tuesday, but beneath Taylor Swift's birthday.
Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
we didn't even talk about Christmas.
Yeah.
We don't.
But you know what? That's my
So old
favorite
school.
day.
Christmas?
It's the last one. It's the last
New Year's
day of the
Eve?
season.
Oh.
Once you have Christmas, it's over with.
Unless you're Canadian.
I mean, that's right. You get like,
Build the wall. Build the wall.
I just started
Canadians
hearing
are
Christmas
crazy.
music this year, like 2 weeks before Halloween. I couldn't bear it. And by the time it gets to Christmas with all the stuff, it's like, all right, I'm ready to move on. It's a new
I
year.
feel the same way. And actually this year, maybe because COVID has got me feeling all kinds of way this year, but this is the year where I have felt most convicted about how usually I'm just like, hey, it's America. We're materialistic. Get over it. But this year, I just feel like I should not be feeling this stressed about
With all this
the
obligation.
celebration.
But that's why Boxing Day is so good. Because
Yeah.
then you got a day just to close it all up and put it away.
I agree. Yes. It was always an extra day to relax.
Bad memory. We got another 12 months. We have to do this.
I like that as children, we're like, I can't wait for Christmas. It's my favorite holiday. And you're like, I love Christmas because that means it's over.
Oh, so I do like Christmas, but it is.
You still like
As
Christmas,
you get older,
different
kids don't have any responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
The parents do everything.
Yeah.
And so you got a lot of kids, you got a lot of friends, you got cards, you got parties, you got all kinds of stuff. And by the time Christmas is over with, you're thinking, all right, great. I got 11 months to recover before the next
Well,
one.
but this year all the parties got canceled, so that's actually been nice. I've only had to go to like one or two things, which I don't mind that. Because I do find the obligations of Christmas season to be a bit overbearing. And again, it makes me feel really guilty because I'm like, we're supposed to be celebrating Jesus. And all I'm worrying about is like, did I get enough pairs of socks to go around Christmas Day? I don't know. I'm feeling
You're
guilty about it.
reminding me I have to buy my wife's stocking.
Yeah, I'm literally
So-
stopping at Walmart.
Because I always
actually.
I get like a few whatever presents. You know?
Don't get a nylon. It takes forever to fill it up, man.
Dad joke.
That was ultimate dad joke. Right?
Do kids listen to this?
Some parents listen with their kids.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and
Abusive
I just mean
parents.
that
Maybe throw in a spoiler.
Santa contracts out with me to
Oh,
help Santa.
Santa?
See, yeah.
Are we going to talk about Santa?
Is it a sin to
I have
teach that
opinions.
Santa's real?
I have opinions on
Yeah.
Santa.
Do you? That's surprising.
Might surprise you to hear that.
Can I plug my podcast before everyone skips forward?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I thought it was like a Santa podcast. I'm like, I gotta hear what this is.
Is it about Hallmark movies?
I will subscribe right now.
No responsible
you go
parents should
ahead.
have their
I
kids
wanna
watching this
hear.
podcast anyway. So
What's your what's your take on Santa?
I don't think, are we supposed to talk about Santa? People listen.
Well, I just blew it, so I think we're...
We're talking
Yeah,
about Santa
we've
now. If
crossed
you'd
that
like to
bridge.
fast forward or pause while we tell some secrets about Santa, then maybe now is the time.
Some spoilers.
But Santa is sacrilegious. And no, I do not teach my kids Santa. No, I actually don't have a moral issue. I was raised with Santa. I thought I would do it for my kids. But again, my husband's families are traditional church family, and they never did it. And so when I got married, because we lived near them, that was our main family, was his family. It just seemed easier not to do it. And frankly, it's been great. I like not, and I asked my daughter the other day if it bothered her, because I have a friend who thinks I'm the worst parent in the world for robbing her of the magic of Christmas. And she was like, no, I never think about it. I know a lot of people are like, well, what if your kids tell other kids? And I'm like, well, I tell
they
my
do.
kids, well, I don't get that. I tell my kids not to do it, and then they don't do it. Like, be a parent and tell your kid, don't do something, and then they won't
Never
do
thought
it.
of that.
I don't
Didn't work out for me.
I don't understand this thing where like, oh, my kids are just maniacs running around doing and saying whatever they want. No, yeah.
Are you doing that anti-Santa TikTok dance again?
So Santa's another satanic deception. That's another one they came up with in the
Giving Day
in the
Santa.
boardroom.
I mean, you rearrange the letters of Santa. What do you get?
There's this fat man, and he goes around.
Well, we didn't make a big deal about it with our girls, but they still believed anyway. You know, they just
Yeah, I've
pick it
had
up.
friends that are, my mother-in-law always said that too. She said, we were dirt poor, like literally dirt poor, where you got an orange for Christmas. She's like, I still believe in Santa. I don't know, I never figured out why he never came to our house, but I always believed.
You were sponsored by a family in Haiti, right?
That was my mother-in-law's family. Yeah, they were, rural Michigan. Grew up.
If all of this stays in the podcast, I do want to say, I think the best time to tell your kids about Santa, you couple it with the birds and the bees. So that way you can be like, so this thing doesn't exist, but let me tell you about this other thing.
I know that's disappointing, but have I got a surprise for you?
Maybe this goes in the Patreon section.
Goes on our OnlyFans. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, are we already in subscriber portion, or do we want to do a formal break into?
Oh man, I wanted to plug my. Can I talk about my podcast?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
this
plug
is
it.
Dewey Decimal
Plug
System podcast, too.
I know.
Even better. It is funny because it is a book podcast. It's called The Book Pile. We started it a month ago, and things are going well. We want to keep the ratings and everything going. You don't even have to listen to it. That's what I'm trying to say. Subscribe, rate it, and that's Merry Christmas for me. No, we have a lot of fun with it. We cover a nonfiction book most of the time, every episode.
Oh, cool.
We just try and be funny the whole time, but we also taking like the biggest ideas out of interesting books. So far we've done like Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, on Writing by Stephen King. We actually just did Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. We'll do fiction every once in a while. And I do realize that at first I was like, some of your listeners might not like Stephen King. But then the same ones will probably also think that J.K. Rowling is even more evil.
Love Stephen King. I grew up with Stephen King.
But even if you don't like it, like his book about writing is really fantastic.
It's the best.
Half is kind of raw, though. He's got
his autobiography is a bit colorful.
If you don't care about Stephen King, skip the first half.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is, he's
still reading second.
Interesting guy, but that's awesome. Book Pile.
The Book Pile.
The Book Pile.
Yep.
I will look it up.
Great,
So
cool.
I'm going to
Thank
plug
you.
mine since Kellen got to plug his.
Let's go down the road here.
It's not, I know,
Yeah.
I felt like mine
Plug away.
isn't as nearly as interesting or fun as his, but my podcast is, if you like opinions,
hers.
if you like my opinions, now that I've scared away all potential listeners by calling them terrible parents for telling their kids about Santa, no, I do a podcast called Just Listen to Yourself with Kira Davis, of course, and that is a podcast where I take talking points on hot topics and hot button issues, and I draw those talking points out to their logical conclusion. So it's an exercise in critical thinking and persuasion. I think people don't really listen to the things they're saying. Sometimes you're making a point and the talking point sounds really good, but it's like I'll give you an example. Yesterday, a woman, very nice, she seemed nice, tweeted out this cute little story about my 7-year-old looked at me and said, "Mom, war is dumb." And I said, "Yes, it is, son. Yes, it is." And that sounds really nice. And again, it was just a 7-year-old saying it. And it's a nice tweet. But this is an idea that a lot of people have. War is so dumb. We should just not have war. But it's like, I don't know, the Civil War was probably like a really worthwhile endeavor at the end. And that the war thing that we did for Hitler, that war thing. That is...
Can we do it for
little weekend?
A little weekend annoyance.
that thingy was like probably a good idea. Like, it's just stuff like that where we always say things that seem like they sound good on the surface, but if you dig a little deeper, the logic isn't there. And I think we're missing a lot of logic and critical thinking these days. And then the other seasonal podcast I do, which I've already basically pitched, is my Hallmark podcast, which we break down the tropes of every Hallmark movie, and we talk about our favorite, the best and the worst of the Hallmark universe. We have fun because that's a very merry podcast.
Very merry.
Just this seasonal this year.
Well, I'm glad I didn't wear my War is Dumb t-shirt today.
I'm gonna have my way with you, Kyle.
Greg.
Well, we had a podcast before there were podcasts. We used to do, when I did the radio show here in Southern California, 3 hours Saturday, 3 hours Sunday, then that got converted to real media. That was before they had podcasts. It's right at the beginning of the internet age or whatever, and then it eventually became a podcast. Now we're just 2 hours a week for my show, and basically what we try to do is we try to train Christians to think more carefully about Christianity. And to be able to defend their convictions. And there's lots and lots of challenges now more than ever before. And so I like to say sometimes things are caught better than taught. And so in the show, I open up with about 15 or 20 minutes of the commentary or whatever, and then we take calls. And interacting with the callers is the kind of catch portion of the program. And they see how I get back and forth with callers. Sometimes they disagree with me. Most of the time, there are people who are having trouble with other people who disagree with them on Christian stuff. So we try to work through some things there and bring the kind of things that we normally bring to the table at Stand to Reason, which is thoughtful analysis and a strategic and tactical approaches, using questions a lot. You brought that up earlier. That's central to the tactical approach. We talked about that before. And then we also have 2 other podcasts that per week that Amy Hall and I do. And it's called #STRask. And it has actually taken me months and months and months to figure out what the hashtag thing is all about. And I'm still not sure I get it. But if you put a hashtag on something like STRask, it goes somewhere that someone else can find when they're looking for it.
That's right.
Again,
you got it.
The first time Greg heard it, he's like, "What's a flashbag?"
I know what a flashbag is. It's the hashtag part. Flashbags you use for something else. Anyway, So this is called #STRask. So if somebody wants us to answer a question that they have, they just can put that somewhere online,
yes,
and usually in a tweet form or tweet length, and then Amy and I will deal with those in our 25-minute segments. So we have 2 of those a week as well. And those are the major ones. Some of the other guys on our team have their things. I mentioned Red Pen Logic, which is only 5-minute segments, but they are so much fun. And there's lots of, it's really, there's an analysis of the challenge, which is usually pretty lame. Though a lot of people like it because they don't understand how lame it is.
Right.
But we're not trying to make fun of anybody. We're not trying to be snarky at all. But we are trying to assess this and have a good time at the same time. And so that's another thing kind of in our digital universe that we're doing that's been really successful lately and a lot of fun as well. So str.org, you can get them all.
Awesome. Well,
do it.
Here's some jokes. Here's some opinions.
Here's a joke.
Here,
Intellect.
here's some truth.
Yeah.
All right, Merry Christmas, everyone, from the
Merry
Babylon Bee
Christmas.
and our guests.
Christmas.
And we're going to go to our subscriber portion, and we're going to get down and dirty. I don't know. What
Bye.
are you doing in the subscriber portion?
We're going to tease. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll find out.
We'll get Kellen to say some more cuss words. Here we go.
I'll have opinions there too.
Coming up next for Babylon Bee subscribers.
All right, well, we have individual questions for each of these guys.
Yeah.
So, hey, Kellen, how do you Mormon folks celebrate Christmas?
That seems odd in a naturalistic realm. It's not in a supernatural world. So the question is, what kind of world do we actually live in?
I like how you're this brilliant mind and we waste your time talking about Die Hard being a
So, War on Christmas, real or not?
Great insight.
That is good.
It is. I hate It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, man.
Enjoying this hard-hitting interview? Become a Babylon Bee subscriber to hear the rest of this conversation. Go to babylonbee.com/plans for full-length, ad-free podcasts. Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave DeAndrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee.